Good morning. I'm Dr. David A. Padgett, Associate Professor of Geography and founder and director of the Geographic Information Sciences Lab at Tennessee State University. I'm sorry I was not able to make the meeting today, but I promised Liz that I would uh, produce a video just basically showing the process of developing the Africatown Connections Blueway story map. So I'm going to share my screen. And so the first thing that we're going to see is this is the story map itself. The interesting story behind this story map is that it was actually developed by my students. We were in one of these meetings earlier this year, and Liz Smith-Inser of the National Park Service expressed that an interactive map of the proposed Blueway uh, did not exist. And so I put my urban geography students to work. Uh, this was one project amongst several that they had to complete during their mini-mester during May. We call it May-mester at Tennessee State University. Um, there were 11 students, and most of them had not had any geographic information systems experience. Many of them, well, none of them had ever heard of the Africatown story. And yet, within 12 days, they were able to produce this map. Now, the students were working under very intense conditions, and so not all of the points of interest are in the correct places, and some of them, many of them did not have photos because essentially photos of or recent photos of some of these locations just didn't exist. And so the students had to do a Google search and try to find images the best they could. What is a story map? It's a map that tells a story. And so this particular type of story map is called a map tour. And so you can click on each of the sites along the Africatown Connections Blueway and get some information about the site and, of course, see a photograph. Now, this particular map was created using the PDF map, which, as you can see on your screen now, is a static map. And so this map is not, it's a good map. I mean, don't get me wrong, as a longtime cartographer and map maker, this is a good map. But of course, it's static. It's not clickable, it's not interactive. The map that my students created is. And so this map was used for the next steps. So the next steps are to update this map and create a new map with drone photographs. And so if you notice, we zoom in on one of these locations, the image tends to pixelate somewhat. It's not as sharp when you get down to, I guess, what we would call the street level. Notice it's not as clear, it pixelates. And this is just an image that is taken from satellite. So what we wanted to do was get drone photos from low altitude. And so we worked with Dr. Claire Grove, who is a FAA licensed drone pilot. So you have to have that license in order to do commercial work. So she is under contract with Tennessee State University. And so here we are, myself and Liz Smith-Inser and Dr. Grove, just having a little fun out there doing field work. So this actually was at the University of Mobile kayak launch site. And so we're here at the end of this peninsula. And so this is one of the images taken by the drone. And you can see that it's much higher resolution. We can zoom in right down to where the three of us were standing, and the image pretty much holds its shape and colors and character. And it's this kind of aerial photography that can be used by landscape architects and designers to decide, exactly how to develop this site into a usable, functional site for recreation and tourism. And so so the next step will be to add these images to the Africatown Connections Blueway map update. And here is another site. I think this is Chickasaw Park. And I believe that is site 10. So there's site 10 here. And we can also take a look at site 10 on the, it's at Chickasaw Park. Not exactly where it should be. This is actually the park here. And so another thing that we did was to get the exact locations of the points of interest. Again, my students were doing this in a hurry, but the map that they created allowed for Dr. Grove to develop a flight plan. Also, while we were in the field, we were able to get pictures of each of the points of interest. This is the Africatown Baptism Landmark Site. And here we have the Africatown Hall Bayou Dock Site. Now, this is the Africatown USA State Park boundary. So this is a combination of an aerial photo not taken from a drone and property boundary information that Liz Smith-Inser was able to obtain. And so here we can see the boundaries of this large parcel of land that is completely undeveloped, but will hopefully be developed in the near future. And here are just some other ground photos. This is a ground level photo of Chickasaw Park that you saw featured in one of the earlier drone photos. And this is the Highway 158 boat launch area. So these images will be added to an updated version of the story map, which is under development with another one of my students, Ms. Gabrielle Mabiet. And so that's where we are right now. By the end of this month, we'll have the updated map, including these photos taken by the drone. And as you can see, they're very, you can literally see us standing there on the bridge at this site, which is the State Route 158 paddle launch. I think that's what or Highway 158 paddle launch. So as you can see, that site was not in its exact location. Here's that same scene in a satellite image, and you can see that it kind of pixelates there. But in the drone photo, you'll see that it's a much sharper image that holds its form. So thank you very much. I will share the link to the current story map with Liz, and she can share it with you. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If you have any questions, please give me a call anytime at 615-258-3657. 615-258-3657. This is Dr. David A. Padgett. Thank you very much for your time and attention.